Hi, everybody. Welcome back to our Spiritual Sojourn. So happy to have you with us today. I'm Laurie, and Tom here is my co-host. How you doing today, Tom?
Hi, Laurie. I'm doing very well. Glad to be
Good.
here.
Are you ready for the guides and what they might have to say to us? Because they're raring to go, I think.
I think I'm always ready, and I'm pretty sure that they know that they're going to pull one over on me. So we'll go with that because it's always amusing and entertaining to see the surprises they bring.
It's true. And remember, please ask me one question at a time instead of
Okay.
your usual Gemini tendency to ask
I
10
know
questions at once.
I shouldn't be have to limited to do that, but I will do my best.
Think it's not so much for them, it's more for me, the channel.
Okay. For you, I'll do it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So they're here with us today, and I think wanted to kind of pick up where we left off last week, talking about guides and the different functions, who they are, what they can do. So you said at the end that you had some questions, so they're ready.
Okay. Well, first of all, I'd like to kind of have an idea of how many different types of guidance that there is. That we know we talked about birth angels a little bit, and there are different types of angels. How many different types of angels are there?
Infinite numbers.
And we have access primarily to birth angels, but are there other angels that are assigned to us, or do they come and go?
Yes, they're being funny today. So, yes, here's their answer. You have access to all the angels, as well as to all of us, the guides. We are always here and available. What humans need to remember is you need to ask, and we will be there to support you and help you in any way that we can. There are many, many angels that are around. Humans like to categorize. And so, yes, there are those categories. There are the archangels, the seraphim, the everyday angels. You may call them what you like, but they are these divine beings who work very closely with Source, who have rarely incarnated, although more and more some are choosing to incarnate to have a physical experience. However, we are always here. The angels are always available and ready to assist. They can offer protection, guidance, support, love, remind you of who you are as a divine being. They're always ready at your disposal. Simply call on them. Your guardian angels, birth angels are always with you, for they are assigned to come with you in each physical life. But there are many angels who are around who will help you in any given situation. Your channel always asks for driving angels who surround her car and keep her safe on the road, going and returning to her home. And in many instances, she has verified experience and stories of those incidences where the angels definitely helped her and stopped her from being in an accident. There are many stories like this out there. There are times when angels will appear by your side when needed to help protect you if you are in a dangerous situation. Also know that family members can also act as an angel or a guide and be with you as well. Those are choices that as a soul they make once they cross over and are no longer in the physical world. They may choose to stay with you and guide you throughout the rest of your life.
Why, Lori, do we have to ask?
Again, here are the guides answering that question for you. We require you to ask or make the request that you ask us to step in to assist you because we do not want to interfere with your free will. Human beings are given free will. It is part of being a human, part of the soul's experience as a physical being. It is very important. And we have agreements that that free will not be interfered with. And so we prefer that you ask. There are times when obviously we will step in if it's an emergency and we need to protect you in that moment. In many cases, the soul itself has reached out and asked for our permission as opposed to the human being mind and ego. But it is important that the human being, the mind, the ego, be a part of that and be willing to also acknowledge our presence and ask for our assistance. For as you are well aware, mind and ego already believe that they are in charge of everything and create everything. And we need them to align with soul self so that you may ask our permission and they begin to understand how the cooperation works between your mind as a human being and us as your guides.
So if I understand correctly, Laurie, the channel here, every time you get in the car, you request protection.
Pretty much I do. I try to remember that every time. And I trust that if I forgot to say the words, I know my angels are with me all the time because I've just asked them to always be with me.
Okay, a little bit of exaggeration here to make a point. Why couldn't you say always, every time I get in the car, I always want ultimate protection from accidents, and I'll write it right on my driver's license. Why can't we do that?
What I'm hearing from my guides is that we can do that. However, it does help to also make that conscious choice each time and that request each time so that we are also conscious that they are with us. But in those instances where we forget or we're just busy or distracted, making that request kind of as a blanket statement, you can trust that they are with you. That doesn't necessarily mean you won't have an accident. It means that you may not be killed or seriously injured or any number of things that could happen. Hang on. They're trying to refine this just a little. The angels protect you as much as they are able. And while they can prevent many accidents, at times there are agreements, there are reasons that accidents happen. We know this is difficult for human beings to really grasp. From thinking from the soul point of view, it is all about experience and growth and learning so that when something tragic happens, it's not a human decision by any means, it is more of a soul decision. And know that there are many beings of light around you in those instances to give you the greatest protection possible.
Okay. When we mentioned the fact that you have to do it every time, the words that I heard might be helpful here. I heard it just realigns the energy in the moment.
That perfect, yes, exactly. Yeah. And for me, I know it brings it just much more into my consciousness so that I'm aware. Yes, that's a perfect way to say it. Yes.
Okay. Um, so let's say I want to take up a new hobby. Uh, I'm a musician and I learned music late in life. Could I call in a specialty spirit guide to help me learn music?
That's my understanding is that we have access to any number of guides and we can request specific guides for specific reasons and for specific support in the moment. And so, yes, you can do that. An example would be that I was buying a house a number of years ago and I asked for a guide to step in who knew about real estate and specifically real estate banking. And this guide shows up and said that he had been a banker at the turn of the century, actually in St. Louis, and worked in real estate and worked with getting mortgages set up for people. And this guide was with me through the entire process of me finding a house, making the offer, doing all that. And once we closed on the house, the guide was there in my apartment that evening, said goodbye, said, it was great working with you, and left. And I've never worked with him again since.
Wow.
For me, it was at a time where I had just read about that and was like, let's try this, let's see if it works. And I was pleasantly surprised that it worked.
Wow. Great
Yeah,
story.
yeah. So,
Now, how
yes,
do you,
you could ask for a guide for any reason, is my understanding.
okay. What's the best way to do that?
Let me have the guides answer that for you. We would encourage you to sit in meditation, to center yourself, hold firmly in your mind the exact request that you are making. What specific reason do you need this guide? What is it that you're requiring from their expertise? Then sending a message out. We would suggest projecting it through your third eye and sending it out into the universe, perhaps picturing it, have an imagination, picturing it moving out into space and it just continuing on. Make the request as clearly as possible and then thank them in your meditation for hearing this request. Then, when you end your meditation, pay attention. For very soon, within the next few hours, few days, you will have a guide that will reach out to you. Watch for the synchronicities, watch for the intuitions, listen to that voice that says, I'm here. They will come to you in any way that you are able to receive them. Then that would require you to, again, sit in a meditation, invite them in, and have that conversation with them of what it is you are needing and how they may be able to help you.
Okay. What are some of the synchronicities and signs that you might expect?
It would depend on the request. So we can't really say for sure. It would depend on what you're requesting. For you, it may be suddenly having an inspiration to compose some music, or it may be suddenly realizing you have a new skill or a new interest in learning a different instrument. Those might be the way that they're working with you, giving you that information, that synchronicity, so that they cue you in to meditate and ask, okay, who's here? Who's helping me with this? You may find that suddenly you're playing something that you couldn't quite play before, and now you can. So it may be them starting to step in and work with you.
Okay, that's exciting. And I can confirm that has happened where suddenly I played something that I didn't. I always say, especially throughout the hours of the wee hours of the morning, I do things that I can't do. So kind
Mhm.
of fits into that category.
Right.
Um,
Let me just say that just personally, it does require attention. When I had made that request for myself, I hadn't been paying attention. I'd been really caught up with work and busy. And I was actually sitting in a meeting watching a video at my job when this guy entered in and said, I'm here. How can I help you? And in my head, I was thinking, I'm at work. What do you want? And so he explained who he was. And so I asked, why are you talking to me now? And he says, because it's the first time your mind has been quiet enough for you to pay attention to me. I was like,
gotcha.
okay, point taken.
Wow.
So I then went home that evening and sat down in a meditation and really tuned in. And he stepped very much forward. So they will try to contact us in any way that they can to get our attention.
Okay. I think there are probably lots of ways they do that. You mentioned synchronicities. And to me, I see different signs. It could just be an overactive imagination, but I see number patterns and I'll be thinking about something and then I'll see that exact thing in a random place.
Mhm.
Are those the kinds of synchronicities?
Yes, I would say that they are, absolutely so, because they try to give us the opportunity to pay attention and to get the messages in many, many ways, I think. So number sequences, thinking about something and then having it suddenly show up, suddenly having an inspiration that you hadn't had before. I
Mhm.
think all of that I think there are millions of ways that they can. For me, it's always music. So I will get in my car, be thinking about something, turn on my radio, and immediately get this song that just confirms it for me. And I just know, I start laughing. It's like, okay, I get the message.
Hmm.
When I was thinking about retiring from my social work job, I was kind of back and forth with it. I got in the car one day, turned on the radio, which I rarely did, on my way to work, and the song Hallelujah was on. And I thought, okay, there's my confirmation right there.
Wow.
Yeah. And
Okay.
that happens to me over and over again. I usually get it through music.
Okay. That I think everybody wishes they had those kind of signs, and maybe everyone does.
I
Maybe we're
think we
not all
do.
adept at recognizing them.
Exactly. I think we do all have it. I think we just don't always pay attention to it. So, absolutely.
Does a request ever get denied? Like, for instance, maybe I don't have good enough karma to be asking for that.
I don't think it's based on that. They're stepping in. Hold on just a minute. They're sort of laughing. Um, you are always good enough, dear one. It is not about having karma, not being good enough, somehow not being enough. You can always ask for support, always ask for our assistance, and we will do our best to help you and to guide you as best we can. Part of the confusion for humans is that many times you do not pay attention. You ask for our help and then immediately take back that request in the way that you interact. Ideally, the request is put out to the universe. Specifically, you call on a specific guide. We step forward, and then the mind will occasionally say, oh, never mind, thank you, I've got this. And then your brain starts to spin stories, starts working it out. You try really hard to figure it out all on your own. So we step back because we can't interfere with that process. That's your right, having free will. You reach out again and say, I need help with this. Please help me. It's your task then to be still, to release it, to not try to fix it yourself, and allow us to step in and help you with that. But it has nothing to do with somehow being more deserving or not deserving. You are always deserving.
Okay. So I won't get a no because I'm not deserving. Are there other reasons I might get no to my request?
We are not allowed to give you the lotto numbers.
Well, I always say it would ruin most of our lives anyway. If we won the lottery, it would change who we are and it wouldn't be necessarily a good thing. But are there, other than lotto numbers, are there reasons why you might just get a flat no?
Only if it is a request that would clearly violate your soul agreement and take you on a path that you had not agreed to, that would ultimately be harmful to you, not only as a soul, but as a human being. Most requests, however, we do our best to work with you. Much of the confusion and the feeling like this is never actually given to you when you ask is because humans have very clear ideas of how they want their request to show itself. So when the request shows as anything other than what you have in your mind, you don't always see it as an answer to your request.
Oh,
So
okay.
that when you make the request of us to help you with something, be open to receiving in whatever way that manifests, because it may not manifest in the way that you expect that it might.
Okay. Do we ever wear out our welcome? meaning, oh God, it's Tom again. He's asking for more stuff. Do we ever get enough of this guy? Can he please take the phone off the hook for a minute? Do we ever wear out our welcome?
No, we are infinitely patient. We are only love. And we love all of you very dearly as we work with you and want to be there. We are very, very patient as well, as both of you can well attest to. They're funny today. My guide always used to say to me, I would request something or an assistance with something, and he'd say, okay, you can take point A to point B, and that would be the best way to do it. That would be our suggestion. However, we know you like the scenic route, so we'll be over here waiting when you finally meander over.
Mhm.
And they would be, and sometimes it would take me 6 months or a year to wander over there, but I finally did because, I'd had to argue with them and debate it and do it my own way and fail, and then finally come back and say, okay, fine, I surrender. And they're always loving and patient and saying, okay, we're here for you. How can we help you now?
That's a great message.
Some of us like to take the scenic route and try it the hard way first and then finally give up and surrender. And that's
Mhm.
okay. They don't mind. We don't wear out our welcome. It's not possible because they're pure love. Their vibration is very high. And we also know that we are dealing with human beings, and we know the struggle that you have with wanting to do everything yourself and thinking that you are in charge.
For many of us, it is a constant struggle between deciding what is fate and God helps he who helps himself. So that's a topic for another day, but I think everyone can relate to that.
Yes. I know I personally struggle with that one as well. Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Um, I'd like to just ask in return and start to wrap it up a little bit. If there's anything that we've missed at this part of the discussion that they would like to make sure we include.
Our main goal today is to reinforce with all of you that we are your guides. We love you infinitely. It never wears out. We are never tired of you. You are always worthy. It is not possible for you to be unworthy, and we are always here to assist you. The important thing for humans to remember is asking us for our assistance and then allowing that assistance to come through and being alert and allowing enough so that you notice and pay attention to the way your request is given to you, for it does not always come in the way that you expect. We would say that when you do make a request, it would be helpful then if you could begin to work to let go of all expectation of how it will look when it is manifest for you.
That is not necessarily easy,
It
but
is
it's a great
not
message.
easy, right? It's not. We understand this. The key is to know that we love you. We were always here for you. We would never leave you.
Great messages all around. Laurie, is there anything else you would like to add before we wind it up?
I think, no, that was amazing from them. I appreciate, thank you guys for giving us that information. And I know for me, the hard part is letting go of expectations and being open to receiving whatever way it shows up. So it's a
Great.
nice reminder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is something that we all periodically just need to reset and remember how to do
Mhm.
it.
Yes, exactly. Absolutely. This has been so great. Thanks, Tom. Great questions.
I enjoyed it, Laurie, and I learned a lot. Thank you very much.
You are so welcome. Bye.
Bye, everyone.